Hello and welcome to csis503 Mobile Computing. The purpose of this little video is to show you how to go through your paper and make sure that it conforms with the term paper checklist. So let's get started. Term paper checklist is on Canvas. Read it, follow it step by step if you want to get points, the full points for this assignment. First thing is make sure the title accurately and succinctly describes the entire paper. Let's take a look at some examples. This paper, the Senjalaya paper, was published. Is this the Senjalaya? Yeah. And it's got a title, Classification of Mobile Healthcare App Research. So mobile and healthcare are the most important keywords. So those are in the title. The title contains important searchable keywords, and it distinctly describes the whole paper. Perfect, very short. You know, obviously some of these research papers, it's hard to give them short titles, but as short as possible. Let's look at another example. Let's see, I believe this paper here, blockchain adoption, implementation, integration, and healthcare applications. So blockchain and healthcare. Anyway, you get the idea. It should have keywords and it should be short and succinct. People should understand what your paper is about from the title. You shouldn't be trying to make it confusing, which a lot of people I think try to do. Abstract. First sentence summarizes the scope of the entire paper. This paper examines the state of the research in the field of blockchain implementation. Great. Let's go to the censorship paper. This blockchain technology is disrupting. It doesn't really give the whole meaning of the whole paper. This one, the last sentence is the one that explains what the paper's about. Mobile health applications are highlighted if one was presented in the research. Oh, sorry, this last two sentences. It's not quite as clear, but it was published. And this is a longer title, so maybe not as punchy. If you want to get cited, which is what the whole, you want people to use your research, having meaningful titles that are quick to understand is helpful. Sentences should use active voice. Again, the abstraction contains searchable keywords. Now, let's get to the most important thing. So the introduction of your paper. Take your time, read the paper, make sure that it makes sense. Let's go to the Senjalaya paper and take a look at, where is it? That's a Bodai's paper, this one. So it actually divides the information out into pieces. It's so beautiful because it makes it so clear when you're reviewing the paper what the paper's about. This paper addresses the problem of classifying existing research. I mean, that's really, a lot of you are putting in your problems that this paper examines how to advance the field of AI. It doesn't do that. It shouldn't be anything about your papers are all classification papers, and they should all be talking about the classification problem. Or it could be the research currency problem, but it should be like, how current is the research? Categorization problem. You might even want to give your problem a name, and the name better not be a field of computer science. It should be a classification or categorization or something like that. So that's probably one of the main things is a lot of people still don't understand what the problem is they're trying to address. Give it a name. And here you can see it's the active voice. This paper addresses the problem. So yeah, you might just use that sentence, literally put that in there. You need to put the importance. The importance should be something, like this research is important because. And why is the research? This is research about research. This research is important because it helps prioritize researchers' work. You could even say other researchers' work. It explains more. Healthcare mobile apps and the research about those apps may have an effect on health outcomes. And so if the healthcare could be more effectively automated, that problem might be mitigated. So he does talk about the healthcare problem, but he talks about why having the research well classified helps improve the other researchers' work. That's why it's important. Complexity is another one. The research classification complex because. Now this one might not be active voice, but it makes it clear. Again, we're striving, the world is complicated. We want to make it clear. So the Senjalaya paper does a beautiful job of making each of these points, problem, importance, and complexity, clear. The Reinert paper, it does it a little bit more subtly, I guess you might say. It starts off with the increase in popularity of healthcare applications. This is a weak way to start a paper. You know, it's kind of stating the obvious. You know, anybody knows of these things, but it does say, it says recent surveys have focused on examining research in blockchain technology, which is so basically he's saying that a lot of the other research hasn't focused on healthcare applications. So he's saying that his blockchain implementation in health records and their applications that makes his special. And the problem is the availability of the research or the recognition of where that research is. So that is a you know, I guess the point is he's trying to make. He does talk about the problem. It's not quite as clear. Everything's in there, but it doesn't break out the points as clearly as what the peer reviewers are going to want to look at. But you definitely have to have it in there. The easiest way is to just state it outright. This paper addresses the blank problem, and it should be the research classification problem. This second paragraph should be something like the research classification problem is important because if the research is well classified, the researchers can do better work or find you know, this information faster. You're basically just saving time for the people who are investigating the field to know what the current research is. And then the fact that the research problem is complicated, not the technology problem. The research problem is complicated because there's all these different sources and titles and you have to filter all this stuff out. That's why. So if you get these three started correctly, probably a lot of the other ones are going to make a lot more sense. But even if you don't use this exact sentence, you should write it with this exact sentence for your own understanding, right? Right? If somebody should be able to ask you a question when you're doing your presentation, they should be able to ask you the question, hey, what is the problem that your paper addresses? And you should be able to say, it is the research classification problem. Why is your problem important? It's important because if the research well classified, people who are investigating the field can access this information quicker and more effectively. Complexity. Why is the research problem complex? Not the technological problem, the research problem. Well, the research problem is complicated because these papers are all over the place. Not all of them are open access. You know, it's just time consuming to go and investigate where all these papers are, as well you know, because you've classified them all. So why is it complicated and not something that's just something you can instantaneously do? Make sure these three, problem, importance, and complexity, are rock solid. If those don't look good, I'm going to assume the rest of your paper is off. I'm not going to read the rest of it because obviously you haven't got the problem sorted out yet. Take care of that, make sure it's right, and then get it to me as soon as you can through MS Teams. Use MS Teams, please, for everything. All right, that should do the trick. Hopefully you understand now how to use the term paper checklist to verify that your paper has all the pieces that are needed for this to score points for it. We will see you guys again online. We have no class this week, Thanksgiving, so we'll have to just catch up online and do our papers that way. Until next time.